Hello, everybody. Thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. It's about that time. Let's go take that walk and see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Today's beer comes from Fegley's Brew Works. This is their Devious, which is an Imperial pumpkin. It comes in at 9%. I don't have the IBUs listed here on Rate Beer, and Untapped doesn't have it, and neither does Beer Advocate. And I'm pretty sure it's not written on the label. This was sent to me by Rico, so thanks Rico, my brother. I appreciate it. And no, it is not. It does have 9% written on it, and it is sweating, so I can't tell if it's got a date on it or not. We'll look a little closer when we come back for the final chug. And guys, like I've told you on multiple pumpkin beer reviews recently, that they all taste pretty much the same to me. The bigger ones are a little more boozier than the lower ABV, but they all taste like pumpkin pie spices, you know, nutmeg, ginger, cinnamon, allspice. Uh, they're all pretty much very similar. I don't buy a lot of pumpkin beers anymore, and I got an overwhelming amount of them sent to me this year. So we're going to try to get them out of the fridge. I'm doing this beer review on the 26th of December, and there's one more I think left in the fridge we're going to try to get to tomorrow. So we'll see what that one brings, but hopefully that'll wrap up the pumpkin beers for 2016. And to be honest about it, I hope it's October before I see another pumpkin beer in 2017. And probably not going to, and if it does show up, it'll be something somebody sent me, because I'm personally not going to buy any. They all taste very similar to me, and they're not my cup of tea. But I try to be as honest as I can with them, and some of them are a little better than others. But most of them are very, very, very similar. So let's see what this one brings to the table. Uh, I will start off by telling you the commercial description on this one says no commercial description. Oh, okay. So they're not going to tell us either place, either Rate Beer or Beer Advocate has a commercial description. So we'll just jump straight into it, and I will tell you the food pairing. It says general dessert, the meat, poultry. Glassware is a pint glass, becker, not a tumbler. I'm using my favorite tulip glass and not recommended for in the cellaring. Being a 9% beer, it is going to keep for a while as far as the alcohol is concerned, but the pumpkin pie spices may fade over time. So, and no, straight down the center you see, no heads poured on this one. And I can see through the beer. I believe it's a filtered beer. It is a rich, not quite as dark as the one we did yesterday, but it is a rich mahogany copper color. Let's get a nose to it. This one seemed like it's got a little bit more pumpkininess in it than the one we did yesterday. Getting a little bit of that pumpkin buttery smell. And when we get into that buttery smell, it reminds me of the pumpkin, which has a huge buttery smell to it. This is not quite to that. I find that the Warlock, in my opinion, is a little better than the Pumpkin. And a lot of people think the Pumpkin is the best pumpkin beer out there. It just doesn't do it for me. It's too buttery for me. Well, let's dive in and see what we got. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Rico. Nutmeg. Imagine that. Nutmeg, ginger, cinnamon, allspice. Very typical. Very typical taste. Now it's right out of the fridge. It doesn't seem to be boozy. Yesterday's beer was the same. It didn't taste boozy out of the fridge. It was cold and chilled. But after it warmed up, it got a little heavier on the booze. And that was an 8%er, and this one's a 9%er. This beer would go great with pumpkin pie, guys. It really would. And that's why I agree with this being considered a dessert beer. Especially when you get into the imperial side of these beers. They're heavy, they're sweet, sometimes boozy, but the pumpkin pie spices are there, and they would go well with some kind of pumpkin-y dessert. Pumpkin cookies, pumpkin pie, oatmeal cookies, something that's got a little bit of cinnamon and stuff in it. Anything with cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, allspice, this beer would go well with for dessert. So, well, let's right out of the fridge. Let's let it warm up, let her taste it, and we'll come back and give you the final grade. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. Check the bottle. This was bottled on 8/5 of 16. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This beer is 4 months old. Over 4 months old. And these guys that do these pumpkin beers rush it every year. I've actually seen some of this stuff in this store in July. A pumpkin beer in July. It's 98 degrees outside. You want to drink a pumpkin beer? Not I. Not I. So they rush the season, and then the beer sits on the shelf till September, October, even November. And in my case, December before it finally gets to. The beer is 6 months old. I mean, but this one's not. This one's a little over 4 months old. It's a decent beer, guys. Don't get me wrong. I've just had so many of them over the last couple of weeks that it's they all taste very, very similar to me. Pumpkin spice spices. I mean, that's basically, if you love nutmeg, cinnamon, ginger, allspice, maybe some hint of some cloves in there, this may be the beer for you. Wouldn't want to drink it year round. Definitely not. Let's do the final chug here. This is a little bit better than the Coronado that I had yesterday because the alcohol didn't show its boozy head at the end as it warmed up. This one is still rather subdued for a 9%. Very well made, I will say that. So, and didn't have a ton of sediment in the bottom of it like the Coronado did. So, just concerned if that was this year's edition or not, and if it was, maybe it was one of those that they produced in June or July, and here it is December. That's why the sediment was in the bottom of it. Not sure. Not sure there, guys. So, when you don't have a date on the bottle, you're at the mercy of the brewer and how long it's been sitting on the shelf somewhere. So, with that being said, this was decent. I mean, I will say it's decent. It's got the date on the bottle, so you know. Very hard to see with the beer in the bottle, though, especially if it's a chilled bottle and it's got condensation on it. So, it was a decent beer. A little bit better than what we had yesterday, in my opinion, especially since it has a date on it, and yesterday's did not. And plus, it doesn't have a big boozy aftertaste or taste as it warms up. So, definitely a little bit better than yesterday's beer, and I'm going to grade it accordingly. I think this is a little better than a B. I'm going to give this one a B+. Very nice beer. A great beer to have between Halloween and Thanksgiving. So, especially if you're having pumpkin pie. That's what this beer goes with. So, and I'm not having any pumpkin pie tonight. So, it's a decent beer, guys. It is. But like I said, nothing I'd want to drink in the middle of June or July. So, if you've had this one from the Fegley's Brew Works, so this is their Devious Imperial Pumpkin. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I'm giving this a B+. Numeric rating on this would be 87. We'll go over to Beer Advocate. Beer Advocate says 84. Alright, and over to Rate Beer. Rate Beer, ooh, they're not kind at all. Rate Beer says 60 overall and 78 in the style. And a lot of these guys probably feel very similar to that I do. Unless it's blowing their hair back or their socks off, they're going to give it a low grade. And I'm a little more generous than what these fellas are. So I'm giving it an 87 where they're giving it a 60. So And our final check-in, we will step over to Untapped, and Untapped has it 3.78, which is a B plus in their category. So we're in agreement. And a lot of time now that I'm using the Untapped scores, I'm in more agreement with the Untapped scores than I am with Great Beer or Beer Advocate. Those numbers are either underinflated or overinflated, where Untapped seems to be pretty close to what I'm thinking the beer is too. A lot of guys that do their comments on there have their head screwed on right, and a lot of guys at Beer Advocate and Rate Beer that do reviews, like I said, unless it blows their hair back or the socks off, or takes them back in the back room and gives them oral sex, they're not impressed. So I just try to be as honest as I can. And we got one more pumpkin beer to get to, I think, unless something rears its ugly head later on down the road, and it may sit in the fridge till next Halloween. So I'm about done with pumpkin beers. We got one more to get to, and I'm going to jerk it out tomorrow. So come on back tomorrow, guys, and we'll see what that beer is. I'll see you then.